With these crunch time plays, are you trying to design plays that are designed to have multiple options, or to try to get it to your best go-to score in that situation?
Well, you look at, obviously we've got 4 guys out on the floor, and Jordan, Jared, Avery, and Jeff that, we're going to try to have at least some spacing for and give them as options. And, to be candid again, they guarded it really well, but it was designed for multiple options.
Celtics, another one-possession loss, 95-92. They fall to the Pelicans. This is the Garner Report on Celtics Blog and CLNS Radio. So the Celtics lose by one possession yet again. This is becoming a pretty noticeable trend for the team. They have 2 chances to try to at least win or tie it up, like last game, and they blow it on both times. So we're going to break that down in this first video here. Evans Clinchy and Jimmy Toscano from Celtics Blog join me. I'm Jared Weiss from CLNS Radio. They lose 95-92, and on a night where they just shot like garbage pretty much the entire game, they were still down by 1 point with a chance to take the lead, and they give it to Avery Bradley, and he goes into 4 guys, and as you'd expect, Evans, he missed the shot.
I do expect, I think that. Yeah, I mean, I very often expect Avery Bradley to get pretty much manhandled when he goes into the paint every time, and sure enough, he did. But I mean, this has been an ongoing problem. They just can't execute in the fourth quarter to save their lives. I mean, it's just game after game this is happening where they just don't have an identity. They don't have anything they can fall back on offensively. Part of it's on the coach. I mean, Brad Stevens has got to drop some plays that'll work for the personnel that he's got, and he's not doing that. Part of it's on the players. I mean, Jordan Crawford can't be dribbling around aimlessly without even looking to pass for 10 seconds at a time. Bradley can't attack 4 guys in the paint because he can't do that. That's just not in his skill set. It just seems like a lack of self-awareness from the coach, from the players, from everybody. They just don't know their own strengths and weaknesses enough to figure out what works and what doesn't, and it's killing them.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head. I mean, there was those 3 possessions in the final minute of the game. Like you said, Crawford dribbling around the 3-point line, basically dribbling into Jeff Green, giving it to him with no
Here,
time.
take this. You know handoffs always
with
work.
With no time left on the clock from the
No.
corner, and he doesn't hit rim. That's a turnover. Then you have the Avery Bradley possession where I like the fact that they got a quick shot off, but I just don't understand driving it to the hole while 2 7-footers are waiting there for you, and Greg Steesman, who, by the way, is a shot blocker, just as much as...
I think they should know that. Avery Bradley should know that Steesman blocks shots.
Steesman was the first guy on him, and if that wasn't enough, here comes Davis to help. So you're literally...
And the rest of the Pelicans.
Yeah, you're literally dribbling into 2 7-foot shot blockers, and you're going to miss, and you missed. And that was that. And I just feel like if you're going to go for a quick shot, and go for the shot. He came around that corner and he drove instead of driving. Why don't you just pull up? Or why don't you know what I mean? Drive and dish, something more than that. And then
the irony is Avery Bradley not knowing that Greg Steensma can block shots. Like those 2 guys together
they used
were
to play together.
Yeah, on that second unit in 2012. I mean, they were anchoring that defense together.
And then,
sorry.
No, it's fine. You were right. And then that last possession, I just don't like Sullinger taking a shot. I know. I'm sure that wasn't the first choice.
It looked like it was supposed to be kind of like a handoff on a curl.
But you got to find a way to get it to the guy you want. I said it. I think you should have went to Green. I mean, the biggest problem with the Celtics is they don't have a closer. They don't have a Joe Johnson, who, by the way, is just automatic. In the last 5 seconds of it, I saw a stat yesterday that was insane to me.
He's one of the most clutch shooters.
It was
pretty much in recent
13 of 16 with 5. It's an insane stat. I don't have it. No. I'm gonna get somebody on that. So here's a stat, Joe Johnson. Here's a stat right there. It's a 6 stat.
Post-production.
Yeah. Real quick, they don't have a guy like that, so that's why we see the lack of execution, because like you said, they don't have an identity at the end of games, and nobody knows where it's going to. Brad Stevens is drawing up plays that could go 5 different ways, and sure enough, it goes the 4th way, and it's usually a brick or something like that.
Well, Stevens said that they're looking for options, multiple options on those last plays, because, they don't have that closer guy for them. Jeff Green absolutely should be that guy, but it's not. And it's very clear at this point
get it to him
that it's not him.
I don't think they know their own strengths and weaknesses well enough to determine what the options should be. I mean, they got it to Sullinger, who's a 28% three-point shooter.
What was your problem?
And Courtney Lee is a 46% three-point shooter, and he's not on the floor.
Who shot 1 for 8 tonight, though?
Jared Sullinger shot 3 for 17.
Hey, volume.
Percentage-wise, that's not much better.
You want to talk volume? Courtney Lee's volume of three-point shots all season has been way, way better than anybody else on this team, bar none. I mean, he's 8% better than anybody else on the roster.
And even so, I mean, Sullinger, he's worked on 3. He can hit threes, okay? But I don't consider him a three-point shooter. Like I said, I know that wasn't the play drawn up. But the fact that he's in the game allows that to happen. So according to Lee, who is considered a 3-point shooter,
absolutely,
is sitting on the bench. I don't care if he's 1 for 8 and cold. Brad Stevens just fall, I guess, for sitting him on the bench that long in a situation that's coming down to the wire.
Yeah, I also don't think that hot cold weather.
I don't
really
think
exists.
it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
I do think there's something to that, but I mean, he did play the game. It wasn't like he didn't play all game. I mean, he had played earlier.
Well, here's a question: when do we give up on Jared Sullinger, the 3-point shooter?
I don't think we give up on it.
I mean, when does that myth just become? Okay, we try to.
It's
do
not a
more.
myth. He's in his second season. He's getting the green light to shoot threes. It's going to take him a while to be a 3-point shooter, but he's obviously not at the point where you're looking to have him be your 3-point shooter at the end of the game.
Who made that decision that we're going to take this big dude who can operate in the post and turn him into a 3-point shooter? Who decided that and why? It seems kind of arbitrary to me.
General trends in the NBA and the whole analytics movement basically said that.
I don't think so at all. I think Sullinger's the only true post scorer you have on your team, and you're trying to force him to be not that.
I don't think they're forcing him. I don't think he's getting away from it. I mean, the dude's still in the paint. I mean, he had 9 offensive rebounds tonight. It's not like he's parked outside the 3-point line. I just think that if he can add that to his game, great. But it's not the time for that at the end of the game.
Evans is right. Anyway. Evans is right in that they're not going to him to go one-on-one in the post. They're not giving him post-up chances at the end of the game. That's when you need your big man as a post-up scorer. You need to be able, when your offense is dying, which it is dying at the end of these games, to be able to just give it to him and let him work on the block. And Anthony Davis, who of course is a great defender, he's a guy that you could back down. He's as much Joakim Noah skinny man energy as he has. You can still move him off the block, and they didn't really go for that with Sullinger at the end.
They do have that length.
Oh god, their length is great.
It's not easy. Sullinger was working for everything he got tonight. I mean, those guys are just bigger than him, taller than him.
And just focusing on this last play, because we're really over focusing on it, or the second to last play, that Bradley play. So when he comes around the corner there, Sullinger slips out onto the elbow, and he was wide open there. But Bradley, if you look at the replay, he's never looking in that direction. Rajon Rondo makes that pass. There was a lane there. Rondo can slip that pass to Sullinger, and it goes from Bradley taking a shot 1-on-5 to Sullinger having a wide open 18-footer to win the game. So obviously the closing issue is a lot to do with the fact that they don't have their best player who's a big playmaker. And a lot of these losses by 1 point or 3 points, they're not going to happen when you have Rondo closing the game out.
Yeah, I mean, here's a question for you. Who has the best court vision on the team right now besides Rondo?
Jordan Crawford technically
Please don't say
does.
Jordan Crawford, because that's a terrible answer. Terrible! How many times have we seen him, not
when
even
he wants
look?
to.
When does he ever want to?
More recently.
All right, I'm done.
No. Well, you made your point. I mean, there's really not a player with good court vision.
And that's killing them. I mean, we've seen plays like that where they just don't know where to find an open man, and they just seem kind of aimless out there.
Phil Pressey?
That's a good answer, but he's not on the floor ever.
No, he's not on the floor.
And you have to be able to look around to be able to see, and his height has definitely been an issue.
And there are some guys on this roster who are too busy trying to make sure they have their dribble right to even look up. I mean,
Okay, but quickly,
scary.
Anthony Davis had an unbelievable fourth quarter, a good all-around game, but then he had 10 points and 6 rebounds in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Jimmy, how do they stop a guy like Davis that's just the go-to guy for that team?
Well,
they're not able to do it.
They limited him in the first half. He didn't have a single rebound in the first half. I mean, they were physical again, just like they were against the Bulls. I thought it was a great game. I mean, I really did. Yeah. It was a great game. Like I said, up to the last minute. I mean, it was a Danny Ainge special. You know what I mean? Try hard.
We know exactly
what
you mean, because every game's been like that.
And make it interesting and lose. And I think that's what happened. I mean, how do you contain a guy like Anthony Davis? I mean, you don't. I mean, he's one of the he's a franchise guy. He would, if you took everybody in the NBA and put him into the draft, he would go in the top 5. I think, right?
I'd say third. Let's go
third.
LeBron
Durant, him. Yeah, I mean, you can make a case. Paul maybe, but I mean, my point is, it's not that easy to stop him. And they really, there were points where they limited him, but I don't think that was really in the game plan. Stop David. I mean, I think it's obvious.
Yeah.
Right. And then last bit is Tyreek Evans.
Foul him.
So Tyreek Evans,
pretty good at free throws too.
Yeah.
Another player that just takes the Celtics off the dribble and completely carves them up at the end of games. That's been a major trend, is really good one-on-one scorers being able to carve them up at the end of games. And coincidentally, the Pelicans' perimeter defense also really stepped up at the end there. I mean, Evans does especially with Avery Bradley being that main defender, although I don't think he was on Evans, it was Jeff Green a lot of the time. But does the Celtics' perimeter defense have an issue at the end of the game?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I think Bradley's still doing a great job, and Crawford, you can hide him against the second-best offensive player, and he'll be okay.
But when you got 3 great backcourt scores, you can't really get away
I really
with
don't think the defense has been the problem for the Celtics on the stretch. I mean, they just can't find a way to score. I mean, what was the score in the fourth quarter? 22-20 in the fourth quarter, and there was a game earlier this week that was similar. I mean, they just
the fourth quarter, yeah. The game they blew.
Like they're not playing poorly defensively. I don't think that's the issue. And Bradley is still Bradley. He's still a great perimeter defender. I think it's just the offense. They're just not executing well enough.
Bradley had some more than one or two really good plays defensively. I mean, at one point tonight, he literally blocked the dude and grabbed the ball.
It was like a Kmart. Yeah,
in one motion, he just blocked it and held it. It was an amazing play. I mean, his hustle creates offense for them. I mean, when he stays with guys, he creates turnovers.
And that was how they got the lead in the late third quarter, early fourth quarter, was that he just started poking the ball out. Yeah. Courtney Lee had a few of those, and they were getting into transition, and that's how they kind of finally broke duck there with the lead. Okay, well, next video, we talk about Ryan Anderson with that big collision with Gerald Wallace, and we take a look at the other injury that's been making noise in the Celtics locker room, Jared Sullinger's hands. And he got rid of that brace tonight, and it completely changed the game there in the fourth quarter. So we'll be back with part 2 of the Garter Report on Celtics Blog and CLNS Radio.